Welcome to the Grandpa Channel, where stories don't fade, they get recorded. I'm Steve Harris. My grandkids call me Gritters. This podcast is where grandpas and grandchildren pull up a chair, turn on a mic, and let her rip. Grandpa stories are chock full of wisdom, life lessons, and frankly, funny as hell. Your stories are the magic elixir to help your grandkids navigate Mr. Toad's wild ride, aka life. Let's Grandpa. This episode of the Grandpa Channel is brought to you by Hires Big H, home of wonderful hamburgers, French fries, onion rings, the magical and medicinal, so I say, root beer freeze. Head to Hires and treat yourself like the legend that you are. Now back to the channel. Welcome to the Grandpa Channel, and Doug Matsumori with me, and I was just figuring this out. We've known each other for over the amount of things. He's a terrific lawyer, but he's just a wonderful person. And Doug, how many kids do you and Michi have?
We have 5.
Okay. How many grandkids?
24.
Man, that's high output. Congratulations.
That's wonderful. The story is that we had 22. And Derek, my youngest, was looking for another child. He wanted 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Gene didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, Devin, who is just 2 years older than him, they had 5 and they wanted 6.
Yeah.
So they went for it. We got 6 and 7.
Oh, wow.
Twins.
Cool.
You know about it.
I know about triplets.
Oh, that's
So therefore, I do know a little bit about it.
but when that happened, everybody went.
Well, the story and still.
That's it.
I tell people, they'll come up to me and they say, so you have multiples? Yeah, got triplets. And they've been wonderful and fun. 2 girls and a boy, that a lot of work. And our life has never been the same, but in a good way. So I tell people one of the worst days of my life is when they turn 16 to try to go get automobile insurance, 24 grand.
Tell me what the age range is. Oldest is 22.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty young, actually, for my age.
Mm-hmm.
22, and then the youngest are 6. The 2 twins.
Wow.
So he'll wide right.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about you. I know some stuff, but give us some background. Maybe give us a little bit of background about Michi too.
Okay. Born and raised in Utah.
Where?
Born in actually the Holy Cross Hospital in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
And we were living at the time on the just where the diagonal, you look off to the right, crosses the Night Beast, and up on the hillside there. We used to live there.
Really? Yeah. Okay.
A little house that was rented. Yeah, that's where my dad carried on his farming operations somewhere near there in a hurry. And so it was convenient.
Was that considered Murray at the time?
I don't think so.
Maybe unincorporated still. Okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And so what high school did you go to?
I went to Jordan High School.
Mm-hmm.
That was a result of the fact that my mother died when I was 12. Well, we lived in South Salt Lake at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And that was our farming headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother lived in a large mansion next door.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad and my uncle built a brick rambler right there for us.
Mm-hmm.
And my uncle lived up in the probably 2030s and 25th South. And they'd come down and work from there.
Now, this will really surprise you. This is something I remember you telling me way back when. Okay. You told me that one of the things that your dad or that your family farm produced was white asparagus.
We did.
So does that surprise you that I was surprised? I can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning, that I can remember you telling me about the laborious way that you keep it white. And I guess was that considered a delicacy?
I think so at the time. I've never seen white asparagus since then.
I think I've seen them in bottles, like canned. Yeah. But anyway, so that just kind of came out of nowhere.
That's okay.
It's a fountain of trivia.
So the reality is we had a farm that they called a truck farm.
Okay.
Because we basically had vegetables, all vegetables.
Okay.
We did everything. We did celery, we did white asparagus, we did parsley, we did green onions and and bulb onions, and we did lettuce and cabbage. We did a whole array of things. So I was raised place where we were working, starting from like the end of March through the end of October was our production time. So it was crazy.
How big of a piece of property was it that you were?
I don't know, about 35 acres that we're farming.
Yeah.
It's the row crops.
Yeah.
Okay, so we did that in Murray most of the time.
Did you?
Ultimately ended up moving out to Riverton area. And that's when the whole farm moved. So I started out in Salt Lake City, South Salt Lake area, living next to my grandparents, who I didn't know very much.
And they didn't speak?
They didn't speak much English. My grandmother learned to speak some, but I don't know that my grandfather said maybe more than 5 or 6 words in English.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And he passed away when I was 11, I think, or 10. And so I didn't know any territory at all. And when my mother died when I was 12, we made the decision to move out to Sandy where the farm was now located, because they moved my grandmother out there. And so
that's why you went to Jordan, right?
Yeah, that's why I went to Jordan. Same with her. She cooked for us. She did all that sort of stuff for my sister and myself. It was to be their first red. And I had 2 other siblings. One who was, as an infant, passed away. Another who, during his infancy, he had a terrible fever and a burns ring. So they didn't expect him to live past 3, but he lived till he was 7. So he's 7 years old, and I wanted us to pack him around.
Really?
Yeah. So anyway, those are
somehow it was the most of ideal circumstances, but tragedy.
There was a lot of tragedy, but I always feared as a child having my parents die.
Really?
For whatever reason, I behaved fear.
So your dad, how would you describe his parenting style, and maybe contrast that, if there is a contrast, with the grandparenting style?
My dad was not. Dad was not a warm, fuzzy guy either. At least to children. He was really well liked by a whole lot of people because he was really nice to people. But he'd have a hard time relating with kids.
Really?
And he had a temper. So I was afraid of him most of my life. Hey. He mellowed later, but at that point in time, it was like fear. So Mom would use him as the threat.
As a cudgel? Yeah. A potential threat.
If I tell Dad, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay. So I lived in some fear of my dad.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really get to know him until after my father passed. And then even later in life, well, actually he was remarried and we had his sons under family. Then I got to know him. And he, at that point in time, was extremely high.
Really?
Yeah, he just sort of,
I don't know,
he flipped the switch. And of course, he became pretty religious and was dedicated to his religion. And that counseled him to be high. And so he was. And his neighbors all out too. And then he was really nice to us. He fixed our cars. But all stuff.
What kind of a grandfather was he to your kids?
He was pretty good grandpa, was he? Yeah.
What would he do?
Just play with them. We eat over at their house probably once a month, and in those days he participated in fixing the food. He participated in playing with the kids and rolling with them on the floor, doing all those sorts of things. But he also had his own second family back at that time. So some of his oldest son is about the same age as my oldest son.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They were kids playing good kids.
So technically, your oldest son's uncle. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So they were 5 of them as well. So
Really? That's quite a group.
So the kids played a lot together.
Didn't they?
Was an interesting man.
Yeah.
Grandpa Tom, everybody liked.
I like to put Doug on the spot with this, but where was it that you went to law school, Doug?
Some Eastern school.
It was hard.
Which is currently under attack.
Yeah, currently under vicious attack. I just knew. I mean, I had done my homework, and there were a couple of like Jim and you. And is there anybody else?
Jerry Snow.
Yeah. But I kind of stood up straighter when I was around. But. Yeah, so away from the U, I assume?
I did, yeah. I started at BYU, did that out of high school, because all of my friends were Cougars. So we went down there, and then I got called to go serve a mission for the church used by some Latter-day Saints in Japan. Surprise, surprise. And then, and then when I came home, I didn't have the money to go back down to BYU, so I decided to go to the youth.
Yeah.
And I ended up for graduation.
Back when a time when you could actually work at a job during the summer and pay for your school for the rest of the year. Shocking. It's not what happens now. Unless you're selling pest control in fucking Texas or something like that. Oh wow. Okay. So one of the things that I'm gonna just put Doug on the spot too here is that one of the challenges that I know I have, assuming that a lot of grandpas have, is how do you share your faith with your kids, but then especially with your grandkids, and is it any different? Do you have any thoughts about that?
I have a couple. So my children, out of my 5 children, all will remain faithful in our religion. Yeah. And I attribute most of that to one experience.
Really?
So when I was 41, our church called me on a mission as a mission president of a mission in Japan. And we had 5 children. At that point, my youngest was 5, my oldest was 15, and that meant we had to pick all 5 of them up to take them to Japan. And so we did that. And in the process, because we were working with young missionaries, our church calls 18 to 19-year-olds and our missionaries.
Yeah.
We had 200 and some odd missionaries, and they all just idolized our kids. And they played with them. They did all of the wonderful things that they needed to have done with them. So our kids became that they basically had heroes, girly heroes, and the heroines for missionaries.
Very cool.
And that fixed in them a real sense of the importance of our religious values and the way. And so it was easy for us. I mean, for Michi and I, and my wife and I, it was probably a simple matter because we're really totally, for 3 years, just submerged in being around the church and doing things with these missionaries. They always wanted to be. My second son was called to Brazil, so he speaks Portuguese. My last son was called Hong Kong.
Really?
He was the one that most wanted to go back to Japan.
Interesting. Did he enjoy Hong Kong? Yeah. My wife and I were there for about a week or so. I loved Hong Kong. It was fascinating. So are there some things that you and Michi do to, you had those missionaries for a while and helped kind of corral them in, but when he got back, he didn't have that. And then what do you do with your grandkids?
So our kids were pretty well fixed, and so that was not hard. We lived in a community that's predominantly the same religion. And so their friends, their best friends, you were all sort of alike. So that was great. So it was fairly easy. And we do the things that normally people do. We pray together. We have gatherings of our family. We talk some facts about what we believe, all sorts of things, but nothing extraordinary, just normal. And then when you ask about the grandchildren, I think that the reality is that the best thing you can do is to be actively engaged in what you believe.
Really? Okay.
I don't see it any other way. You can lecture them. You can do lots of things. You can set expectations, of course, and we did that. And but they all have their choice. Interestingly, our oldest grandson has elected not to serve a mission, which is really not what we had hoped. But he's a good kid. He's doing quite well. He went off. In fact, he went off and sold. He has good. Yeah, that's control.
Yeah.
In California, was extremely successful.
Yeah.
That was good and bad, but it's made a better person.
Yeah.
It's learned to work hard.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just think there are a lot of things you can do, and most people who are actively engaged in religious belief will try to live it and try to exemplify it and also teach it as much as they can. And then there are lots of people around who are examples as well, right?
Yeah.
And so those people are there.
Takes a village.
Yeah, it takes a village, absolutely. And then friends that he's. So
Had your kids been pretty lucky with the friends?
our kids have been very lucky with the friends. Yeah, our grandkids are going well. We're going very well. So yeah, I think.
Do they live within a close radius of where you guys live?
Okay, so 2 of the families live within a 5-minute walk of my house. That's a total of 10 of our grandkids. And then 2 of them live in the Olympus area, which is 10-minute drive from my house to theirs.
Yeah.
And they have total of 10 also, because they've got 7 and 3. So they're all really close. And we've always, the other thing is, and I don't know that this is, it's not intentionally religious. It's intentionally bragging people in, which is one point I want to make.
Yeah.
I think one of the great things about being a good grandpa is to have a good grandma. I have a wife who is a devoted grandmother. She's extraordinary. She's extraordinary about that. In fact, she is known in this area amongst the friends of my friend, our children and our grandchildren. That's Grandma Michi. They call her Grandma Michi. But everywhere she goes, somebody will, hey, Grandma Michi.
Serious? That's very cool. What does she do, Doug? That's
She just is unending energy, and she just loves to feed people and entertain them, and she is so open, and she has no filter for to say, that's a kid I don't want to talk to. Really, she will talk to anybody and anyone, and then she makes it feel like they're her best friend. And, by the end of that, they are in her thrall.
Yeah.
So sweet.
Yeah.
And they'll do what she asks them to do, or they don't do what she asks them to do, she'll call them.
Yeah.
And they usually take it pretty well. They are going, because they love her. That's amazing, because they love her.
Yeah.
They want to be with her.
Yeah. Well, I think, you say, well, what's maybe the best thing you can do as a potential grandparent? I think one is marry a wonderful woman. I married a wonderful woman, and my line to a lot of people is that I married 40 times better than I should have. Interestingly enough, people who know both me and my wife, when I say that, I never get any arguments. And I want to go, well, why don't you just say 37 or, the 32? It's acknowledged that I'm married above my station. And we're very different, but she is slavishly devoted to the idea of being a grandma, and to being a mother. And I mean, it's been a huge blessing for.
I know your wife,
Yeah.
and it's only 20.
Thank you. Well, I'll pay you. I'll pay you later. And it's just, let me make an observation and tell me if you agree with this. But you didn't really have a great role model for a grandpa, did you? Okay, so how did you become? And I have it on good authority, I'll tell you later, that you are a wonderful grandpa. And So how did you learn that, Doug?
That's a good question. I don't know that I have learned it.
Well, it's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress. And it's interesting to me when you asked me to come. Me? That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And then you said, well, you can be who you are, which is what I am.
Yeah.
I am what I am. And I just, I've been thinking through this bill in preparation for our discussion, and I don't know. My real problem is I haven't been consciously striving to be a great grandpa. I like my grandchildren. I love my grandchildren. But they're amazing. They're amazing people.
Yeah.
And there are things I just absolutely adore about them. If you were to ask me what's my relationship like with each one of them is,
That's an honest answer.
it's an honest answer, but it's nothing like what my wife has,
Interest.
which is my goal, to be more like, but be what, I'm never going to be like her, but to have a relationship like she has with them, I don't know if, I think that we're going to leave for 9 or 10 months this year with mission for our church in Japan. We were in California earlier this summer, and we were driving around with 5 of our granddaughters.
Yeah.
And out of the blue, one of them said, "Grandma, you can't go. She said, what?
That is cute.
You can't go because Christmas is coming and Thanksgiving is coming. What are we going to do without you? And I'm just going, yeah, what are you going to do? But that's the kind of relationship they have with it. They laugh together. They joke with each other, and she can tell them stuff that her parents can't tell them. Yeah. And so she's sort of this amazing soul who has learned to love and without distinction everybody and everyone, and people feel that they feel. And she's honest with it. And there's no pretense. And it's like, okay, you are who you are. Don't do that anymore. Yeah. But I love you. I love you. Yeah. And they get a big hug, and she's happy, and they're happy.
Wow, that's a wonderful thing. So now I told you, I warned you about this. I'm gonna ask you, what do you consider your superpower, Doug, as
Grandpa and Grandpa?
Yeah.
My superpower is to follow that way.
That's not a bad superpower to have.
It's a good superpower. Yeah, I love it, and I try. I mean, I really try to be as big as she is, but I have a hard time that she gets down on the floor with them and plays games. I can't even bend my knees for her. What you mean? Yeah. So she says, "Come and fly." I go, I don't know if I want to do.
I can't get up.
I can't get up. So yeah, I don't know. That's as I assess myself and look at things that I do, I think I'm fairly just steady, and I try to be kind for a couple of my boys. Other than that, it's just that my superpower just to be free.
That's a wonderful superpower to have. If I could develop it for you, I think I've mentioned this before, but one of the things that I've been thinking about when I've been trying to figure out the Grandpa channel is there's a great quote attributed to Winston Churchill. Somebody came up to him and said, he came up to Churchill and said, well, Lord so-and-so is a very modest man. To which the tart-tongued Churchill said back, well, Lord so-and-so has much to be humble about. And I think that that's where I honestly am coming from, because I know that there are certain types of grandpa kryptonite. 4-year-old, whiny 4-year-olds is like money. I just start shriveling, I can't handle it. And then I just don't handle that very well. But for some reason, because my wife's pretty extraordinary, she handles it a lot better. And she kind of looks at me like, okay, you can level up here, let me have that. Yeah, and I think that, my wife's not afraid to say, you have fallen short in this area. She says it lovingly, but, I just go, you're right. And I had my dad, who you knew, a remarkable man, but he told me, he said that he did more parenting of kids who were married than he did when we were at home. And he was a very hands-on, really a wonderful dad. And I thought, honestly, back when I was 30 or 35, I just thought, he was right. And the other thing, too, is that you need people in your life, a wife or a spouse or somebody who can just say, you're off the path a little bit. You need to do a course correction. And I remember my dad, who I was extremely close with, he took me aside a couple of times and he said, I have noticed, you're very straightforward about it. He says, I've noticed that you've been too sharp with Jean. And my initial reaction was, oh, you got it wrong. Who are you? But I'm also the sort of person that if I don't necessarily take correction at the time it's given really well, but I'm pretty good at kind of working through it. I think there was some truth there. And the nice thing, Doug, was that he was not a hypocrite. And he treated my mom like $1 billion. And so I knew that he came from a place of love, and I knew that, unfortunately, that he was right. And I think that, I've heard somebody say, what's the best thing you could do as a grandfather for your grandkids? And one of them is love your wife. And I hope that I model that, with my grandkids, and I hope that they understand, kind of
where we're coming from. That's for the thing. I haven't added them to that as a youth. One of the other things you can do is to counsel with a book or a shoulder who are their parents. There's an element of this where, in fact, I'll tell you about this later. But anyway, there is an element of this that is a rather interesting and delicate relationship problem or challenge. And that is, we're grandparents. And while we have a role in our grandchildren's lives, the parents are the parents. And I think it's an important thing to develop is a relationship with your own children and their spouses that allows you to collaborate and to have them actually say, sit back, because they do. And if they will, and we can do it with the right kind of spirit, then it all becomes part of that collaboration that goes. But that's all.
Yeah. I love the word collaborate. It has a negative connotation during World War II. Of course, you had the French collaborators. That wasn't a good thing to be. They kind of teamed up with the Germans. But I think the definitional side of collaboration now is a much more positive one. And we grandparents need to really collaborate with our kids so that we're not getting in the way of what they're trying to do, even though it might not be exactly what I would do or my wife would do. And I think you bite your tongue sometimes, but I will say that I think our children bite their tongue sometimes when we get involved. I didn't ever want to be the disciplinarian grandpa, Doug.
Yeah.
I want my kids, I don't know whether it's true or not, but I want them to, when I come into the room, to light up like a Christmas tree. Like, here's grandpa. Yeah. And I'm willing to spend money to give things. I'm humble that way. But, I would love to have the idea of, grandpa said out loud with affection. That's a powerfully wonderful narcotic. I just can't get enough of. I'm sure that none of my children would say that I need to work on anything. But
I know that my children will say to work on a lot of things.
So when you've been contemplating this interview, anything else sort of kind of come into your mind, Doug, about as you've been contemplating your existence as a grandpa?
Yeah, so this is sort of a theme right now in real life. Because I want to get involved back into law, but not vis-a-vis like the mediator.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you'd be great.
Well, that's what everybody says, but the reality is that's a top job.
Yeah.
And I've been reading quite a bit of that. And it's interesting to me that most of a lot of the literature has gone in the direction of saying, this is a heart change. This is like following what Jesus Christ does. Okay, it's not a confrontation or contentious. It is to remove all of that, which means you're changing hearts. That's a tall order. You know that, you're a lawyer.
Yeah,
you've been in those situations where people are at each other's throats.
Yeah,
and trying to get people to change. I mean, you may see it, and getting them to change those circumstances is a really tall order. But many of books on mediation and conflict resolution are now pointing in that direction, which is interesting to me. And I think that's also part of the process that we have to be involved in with our grandchildren, with our children, with everybody, frankly. I mean, we should be involved in this process of transformation. Soul transformation, helping people to become restored to the great eternal souls they are. That's really what it's about. But again, polar.
Yeah.
But there are ways, there are things that we should be going to do at it. That's where my focus is. And that's aspirational.
Yeah.
Totally aspirational is right. There are places where I think I'm good at it, but there is places where I know I just totally fail.
Okay, I've got a weird question, a throw scenario at you. you're a grandpa, and one of your granddaughters comes in. Let's say she's in her early teens, and she comes out to you and says, "Grandpa, I'm really, really worried about the world. There's all this stuff going on, and I don't have to look, past much. It's all over my phone. It's all over the TV. Why do I keep going? Tell me why I keep plugging. Why do I need to go to school? Why do I need to plan for the future? I'm getting to a point where I'm without peace. Paint that picture for you. How would you respond to that, Doug?"
I think the only way to respond is to start asking questions, trying to understand. Because I mean, that's the superficial world that is being presented to her, and her reactions to it are something that you have to sort of dig down. Yeah, you're doing to find outside. I'm not good at this, but I would want to start saying, so you say that all of this is bad. Tell me if you see anything good.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see anything that are wrong? And hopefully they'll be responsible. Oh, yeah, once in a while. Well, what is once in a while?
Yeah.
Where is that going?
Yeah.
And we all see the bad, right?
It's easy.
It's easy. The newspaper doesn't publish anything bad,
I know.
and nor does the television,
Yeah.
nor does your phone.
Oh, your phone's terrible.
Those are terrible sources, but are they the only sources?
Yeah.
And how do we feel about these things?
It's interesting because I'm coming more and more to the, and I'm sure it'll keep going on in the future, it's peace is only found through God, through Jesus. I just think that that's the ultimate source of peace. What I envisioned, this is a vision or anything like that, but what I see is I'd like to see this beautiful fountain, or grandpa fountain, where it's just bubbling. Water's beautiful. It's just beautifully laid out, and it's just pleasing to the eye. And it's just this fountain of peace. And I'd like to think that, that's me, or potentially it could be me, to give peace and comfort to my, my loved ones and people to kind of look at. And I'm unwilling to listen to anybody else. But to me, it's the only peace in this kind of world that's going to come our way is through God. I think it's incumbent upon us to help us grandpas to help our grandkids have a relationship with God and to, find that peace on their own. I just think that it's a really hard time to grow up. I think about young men, for instance, that are literally a click or two for incredibly painful and awful pornography that's scarring and can get them into real troubles. And I don't know how they do it, the good ones. That some of them go off the path a little bit. You gotta help me come back home.
Well, that's the nice whole whole idea of Christ, that he's there because he brings us back.
Yeah.
And that he only brings us back through other people.
Yeah.
And it's no grandpa.
Yeah. Well, and I think, and like I said, I have much to be modest about. As a grandpa, I want to really lift my ability to help people, and I also like the idea of grandpa as a verb rather than a noun, and I think that we grandpas can kind of grandpa where we're planted, live where we're planted, or lift where we're at, and help young men and women, provide a grandfatherly figure of a fountain of peace, to people. I think that's a wonderful thing.
So, buddy.
Yeah.
But what you're saying, the thought that came to my mind the other day. So I retired. The first time I retired was a year ago.
Yeah.
And until that time, I was totally absorbed in working as a lawyer for my church, in their office of general counsel. And it was a challenging and absorbing and fascinating job. And suddenly they said, well, it's kind. Really? And I said, you're right. So I parted company, and golf was really good for a while. But I started doing some reading on retirement, and there are stages. I mean, there's the vacation stage, which is
That's like grief and retirement.
and then you come to the next stage. And if you haven't prepared yourself for the next stage, it can be depressing. And so you just said something that I think is really relevant. And that it's grandpaing is a job. It is a responsibility. And you know, sometimes you're passive, but it's like, okay,
I am. Yeah.
you know, we're having fun together.
I'm here.
Birthday. I'm here.
Yeah. Go about your.
Exactly. I have provided this nice place for you to be, and all of those sorts of things. But the kind of thinking you're thinking about this whole concept of being grandpa is right. It is a job, and you know, your retirement. We need to figure out the resources and available, and begin to apply them in that process, because there should be nothing more rewarding, in my view, and to learn to do that. It's fantastic. I know. Yes, and it's absorbing.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
But it is also really challenging.
It's really challenging, I think, because I don't know about you, that my energy level isn't quite what it used to be, and but yet I think that my wisdom level is way up here. My energy level is, fluctuating somewhere there, and I love being a grandpa, and I really sincerely want to be an inspiration to my grandkids.
You need to be inspiration and a sort of trusted advice. They must trust you. Have you seen the book by Wynne Egan?
No.
Grandparenting on Purpose?
No, I haven't seen it.
You should check it out.
Yeah.
You know Ike Egan?
Yeah, they're in our
He's a brother.
Yeah. Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
His brother and his deceased wife, Linda, wrote a book called Grandparenting on Purpose.
Oh.
And it's fascinating.
Is it?
I haven't read the whole thing, but I read to it, and it's all about the same thing that we've been discussing.
Yeah.
It is purposeful
Yeah.
grandparenting.
I think that I want to be more purposeful, but I don't want to be a stick in the mud, either. And I know that's not what they're saying. I mean, I have this inordinate fear of being a stick in the mud. I tend towards that. I describe myself as funny, but not fun. And there's a difference. And I think that what I found is that all 7 of my children helped me become more fun, and for which I am very, very grateful. And hopefully I still keep a sense of humor after, that. Are there some other things that you've got on your chest that you've got to talk
That was a
about?
principal one that I
Yes.
used.
I
love it.
idea.
It's a great ethic. And they start out with a statement that says, this is all about relationships.
Yeah.
And relationship build.
Yeah.
And that's really what it's about.
Yeah.
That's what life is about.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate your friendship.
Oh, I appreciate yours too.
And it makes it better.
And I think it makes us all better. And that's the goal of the Grandpa Channel, is a place where you can come and laugh, listen to some great stories, listen to great people, great grandfathers, not literally great grandfathers, but grandfathers, talk about how much they enjoy and the challenges. I think it's really challenging. I'm not blessed, shall we say, with an overabundance of patience, and I've had to become more patient over time. Or as my dad would say, he would say, on a piece of work. There's about 12 ways you can take piece of work. Some positive, some not so positive. I wonder if my grandkids is going to, oh, yeah. And I'm called Rivers. That's what my nickname is. Rivers, like an Old Man Rivers, this Broadway show tune. And then she is called Queen. But I just think that some of them are just kind of like, oh, that's just Rivers being Rivers, or the fun stuff.
Well, I know that's true of my own kids, grandkids.
You go by Grandpa, or what do you go?
Like Gramps.
Okay, what about Michi? Oh, Grandma Michi.
Grandma Michi or Grammy.
Grammy? Oh, that's cute. Yeah. So, man. Well, I'm so grateful that you could come here, Doug, and thank you for sharing your thoughts and wisdom. And Doug has a great family. In what I do, I still practice law, and I do wills and trusts. And one of the questions that I ask a lot of my clients is, I'll say, I'm looking for the perfect family. Are you the perfect family I've been waiting for? And almost everybody bursts out laughing. Tell me why. There's methods to my madness. I've got to find out what's really going on. The eyes, and then the other one is I pick up a pen. I said, if this is a magic wand, this over your family, what would you want to see in it? And it gets people thinking. I think that virtually all of us want to have close family relationships. Sometimes drugs and alcohol on a grandkid level or cares of the world, financial responsibilities, the whole 9 yards. Now, I can't help but ask this question of YouTube, and that is, you are a patriarch in the Church of Jesus Christ. Explain what a patriarch is and how maybe that is flavored how you look at your grandkids and other people.
Okay, so just straight out, the calling is a calling that allows you or actually authorizes you to give what we call patriarchal blessings now. Patriarch obviously is a father. This is after the tradition of the great Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Abraham gave blessings to his children. Those are patriarchal blessings. They are blessings from a father to a son or a daughter about their lives and about what the Lord and God wants for them. So when Joseph Smith began the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, he called his father to be the patriarch for the church. And that continued for quite some time. In fact, he had a church patriarch until Elder G. Smith, who was the last one.
I remember it.
Yeah. And then after that, they began to say, well, we got way too many people to have a patriarch in the church, have to give a blessing to everybody. So they then asked that every stake in Zion, that unit, would call a patriarch who would play the role of giving patriarchal blessings to all of the people who desire one. Hopefully everybody does. But it's primarily youth now. I own when I was 19. And so it provides what we hope to be a personal set of guidance and scripture. Truly personal, in a sense. It's legally the sky speaking to them. And so that's the whole idea. Now, how that reflects on my role as a grandfather is, it reminds me of the gravity of what we're doing as grandparents. I mean, these are our grandchildren. They are our progeny. We have a responsibility to them that is deep and strong, that requires of us the ability to bless their lives. And so it means to bless their lives and, frankly, to restore what they are, which are children of God, to the full potential of what a child of God is. And so that restoration is the word that you have to be about.
It has to be a savoring calling to have.
It is so great.
Yeah.
Because it's like what we just talked about. How do you deal with your child? They're different personalities. They are extraordinary souls, but they're all unique. They all have different needs, and they have all different desires. And so as a grandparent, you're in position, you're a patriarch in every sense.
Yeah.
And you have a responsibility to those grandchildren to discern their needs, and then to take whatever action is needed, maybe inaction is needed, or whatever love needs to be given, whatever patience is long-suffering needs to be given to demonstrate that they are valued and loved in a way that will allow them to develop like they should. I think that's what it's about.
The thought you had me that there are these similarities between your calling, your formal callings, and then our collective callings as fathers and grandparents and great-grandparents, maybe eventually, depending on we keep on keeping on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Doug.
So welcome. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for getting my head going.
Maybe Michi will thank.
I think she will.
That's it for today. Thanks to my friend Doug Matsumori, and let's keep on grandparenting. That's it for today's episode of the Grandpa Channel. Leave a review, share it with a friend, or better yet, tell your favorite grandpa. We're on a mission to gather 1 million grandpas, storytellers, wisdom peakers, and lovable wild cards. Until next time, keep the mic hot, the memories fresh, and the jokes just slightly inappropriate. I'm out of here.